Welcome to the show, Mayor. Lovely to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. It's a real privilege for me to be here.
You know, now sitting here talking to you, all the Vancouver 2010 memories coming back. I mean, given that we only have just a little bit over a month away to the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympic Games. So what kind of message you would like to send out to the athletes and to the hosting country?
Well, to the athletes going from Canada, I just wish them all the great success. I know that in 2010 we had a wonderful time and they really performed at the very, very top level, which is what they had to do. And I hope that they can achieve that kind of success once again at the Beijing Olympic Games.
Yeah, can you maybe recap a little bit the glorious moment, given that Richmond was the venue city, and you have been the mayor ever since 2010. Those glorious moments you would like to share with us.
Well, we're in the Richmond Olympic Oval, and of course there were about 10 different races that were conducted here over a number of days during the games, and so we had 10. Gold and silver and bronze medals that were awarded here after some really terrific competitions. And I can think to other Olympic sports and venues, and it was always that way. These great athletes performing at the very top level of their abilities and their endurance.
And we have seen many athletes, they're actually practicing here, including athletes coming all the way from China, right? And I mean, based on your experience, at this time, COC was saying like we probably will be sending roughly 225 athletes over to compete in Beijing. And what are the disciplines or sports you believe Team Canada or Team China athletes will be compete the best?
From past experience, the Team China is going to have very, very well established and high-level athletes. I don't know exactly what sports will be the most competitive. I know for Canada, we, in the summer we look to the sprints, and in the Winter Games we look to the hockey. But there, in fact, are dozens of different sports here. And right here in this Olympic Oval, of course, the Chinese perform very, very well. It'll be something for everyone from every country to look forward to.
Yeah, what kind of sports was going on back in 2010 when you talk about the Chinese athletes actually perform very well in this particular venue?
Well, in this particular venue in 2010, it was the various kinds of long track speed skating. And within that discipline, you have a number of different performances. So you'll have, the sprints for short distances, you'll have the long distances, and you'll also have the team sports where you have a number of different team members who all have to contribute at the same time to have that high level of performance. So it's very exciting.
And lately, I mean, unfortunately, we did hear some, a little bit more, some kind of different noise, not particularly in terms of sports. So, I mean, when we talk about Beijing 2022 Winter Games, so can you share your take on this particular,
I just hope that the politics of the situation don't get in the way of the athletic performances. My hope is that we celebrate the athletes that we send to the games and other countries send to the games, because I know when the Olympics are successful, they have so many different athletes in different disciplines and they're all performing so well. And my hope is that the Canadian team performs really well. Once again, as they have been doing in the past. We'll have time for our differences on the political venues, but I hope that doesn't get in the way of a very successful Olympic Games.
Now we heard recently City of Vancouver and City of Whistler have just signed a MOU with the First Nations, and they were looking at sending a bid for the 2030 Winter Olympic Games. So were you part of this conversation, or were you looking forward to Vancouver once again hosting the Winter Olympic Games?
We are a very small part to this point of the discussion surrounding 2030. I know that when they had their press conference, the four First Nations and Vancouver Whistler, they talked about using venues over again. So obviously this venue, the Richmond Olympic Oval, being the home of long track speed skating in 2010, is going to be an active participant in those discussions. How it comes out, whether we're involved, how we're involved, those are all issues that are yet to be determined.
And now we know everybody, we have to follow these strict rules because due to the pandemic, and we might not be able to host a big, a large gathering when the Beijing 2022 Winter Games start. So any particular other activities you might be recommending or encouraging people to join, even though we might have to stay in Canada, but cheering for the athletes?
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different public venues that will feature the athletes from the Beijing Games. At this point, because of COVID and the other restrictions, and it's likely going to get more restricted rather than less restricted, we haven't really planned anything at this point. That can change. Historically, what we've done is we've had the public venues where people can go and watch it on television, whether it's in some of the sports venues or whether it's outside at the big screens. So all this is yet to be determined. We'll just see. But right now we've got to focus on the athletes and make sure that they get there, get to Beijing, get there safely, and that they are well enough oriented so that they can really perform at the top of their game, whatever that should be.
Yeah, so maybe name one or two your favorite.
My favorite
in terms, yes, sports, all that.
Well, of course, hockey is
Yes.
going to be a big one, and because we have the long track speed skating here, we found that we had a lot of homegrown athletes who were involved deeply in that sport, and we've come to appreciate it. You also have the long track or short track speed skating, which sounds similar, but it's not that much the same. And of course, curling is also going to be a very popular event as well.
And we have actually a growing population in terms of people with Chinese descendants living in Richmond.
Right.
So by having such a glorious, sports event, what do you believe actually benefits the city and trying to promote, a multicultural inclusion?
Well, I think your question kind of sets the tone for it. I think that there's so many different sports where certain countries, they're not very good at those sports. And through participation and being involved in the international tournaments, every year they get better and better and better. So whereas Canada, for instance, the women, I saw the women compete in the 2006 games, and it was very clear that Canada had a far superior team than anyone else, and they did win the gold medal. But other teams have now come up. We've seen curling. Curling, Canada has always been a strong competitor in that game. And take the Chinese. They were never strong in that, didn't really know much about it, and over the years, they have come up so that they are really competing at that top level. Over the years, our curling club here in Richmond has sometimes hosted the women's Chinese curlers as they're getting ready for various world competitions. So you're right. The essence of sports these days is very international in focus, and you have strong teams from all over the world competing at this very, very high level.
We know that next year the new election is coming, so any particular project you'll probably be aiming at in terms of promoting, more cooperation between Canada, China, the two countries, or the athletes?
Yes, as you say, there is an election coming up. I don't know that there's any initiative, particularly at the entire city level, but certainly at the individual level, there's the various trade associations, business groups, arts and cultural opportunities. We have a sister city advisory committee which is active in promoting educational and cultural and business opportunities between the city of Richmond and China. We have a Chinese sister city in Xiamen and a friendship city in Qingdao in China. So there are a number of different opportunities on the international sense that will promote the city of Richmond, promote British Columbia, Canada, and China, and better international affairs.
Any other message you would like to share with us now, especially for the coming up Beijing 2022?
Well, I just want to reiterate that we have a great set of athletes going to the Beijing Games, and I know that they will be top performers. They're not going to let the politics or the COVID get in their way. They'll make sure that they perform at a very high level, and we will be very proud of what they do. Just remember that feeling when we won the first gold medal back in 2010. It was a snowboarder on the North Shore, and it was a terrific feeling. So that's the kind of feeling we're looking to regenerate in Beijing in 2022.
You were the mayor when we hosted the Vancouver 2010, and you see this venue building up. So now it's 11 years past. So what kind of the benefit actually the city has gained?
We were awarded the rights to build this building in about 2004, and for the next 4 or 5 years we were very much consumed with the planning, the design, and the construction of this building. And what we did is we said we do not want a white elephant on our hands. This would be a city facility. We got money from different sources, including VANOC and the government, to build it. So we said we want to take a look out 60, 80 years, the entire life of the building. What do we want to do with it? And we wanted a multi-sport, multifaceted building which could host everything from community recreation all the way to international high-level gold star tournaments. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we wanted, but then within the first 5 years of that, then we were fitting in the Olympic Games into that experience. The Olympics in general has been a real boon to the city of Richmond in terms of its legacy. For instance, the Canada Line, that was built. It wasn't an Olympic project, but the Olympics supported that project. They wanted to go from downtown Vancouver to the airport and out to Richmond. And so we benefited. And that kind of a project will change the city because it enables development, transit-oriented development to take place all around it. We have the Richmond Olympic Oval. Obviously, it's a huge legacy for us. Prior to COVID, it had about 7,000 members. About 80% of them were Richmond residents, and we feature dozens of different sports. We have 40 or 50 major tournaments here in every year, plus just the daily activity of a very intense sort. So those are the Canada Line, the Richmond Olympic Oval are two legacies from the Games. We also decided that we wanted to be not just a city with a venue, we wanted to be a true venue city.
Yeah, to benefit everyone, not just...
Exactly.
Yeah.
We wanted to benefit everybody. So we wanted everybody to be able to participate in the Games without having to pay money out of their pocket. I mean, of course, we could get tickets for the various sports events, but aside from that, we wanted to be able to host people from all over the region, all over the province, all over the country, right here in Richmond. Prior to the Games, we had something like 300 international media coming here to this building to highlight what we had done. And NBC Sports called this the crown jewel of the Olympic Games. Now that message, it's just one message, but it goes out all over the world.
Yes.
And so we had people showing an interest in our city that didn't even know we existed before that. So from the point of view of participation, from the point of view of education, from the point of view of recreation, from the point of view of international exposure and opportunities in the business world, in all the other types of arenas, we have more participation, people have a higher level of awareness, and it's Richmond itself that benefits from that. So it was a large investment by us in the city of Richmond, and we gained legacy like no other. After the games, the Olympics, they leave the name Olympic on one building and allow one building to show the rings in a big prominent way. That was this building.
So Richmond is the only one?
Richmond Olympic Oval. We have to have the ongoing permission of the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, to
have
call
the
it,
5 rings.
Well, to have the 5 rings outside the building, and to call it something that says Olympic. Now there's restrictions that happen with that, but again, in terms of everybody flying in and out of the airport sees the oval, they're reminded of Richmond, they're reminded of the Olympics, in terms of city building, in terms of iconic development in the city of Richmond, there was really no equal to it. And it was controversial leading up to the games and was very, very complicated. But it's certainly, if people weren't persuaded before the games, by the end of the games, they were persuaded this was worth it. This was really something. This was really, really something.
Yeah, go back to the 2030. You talk about this is only very initial discussion. So if Richmond will be included in part of this bidding committee, I mean, what kind of the next step or the message you would like to have the public get involved?
Well, I guess there's 2 main messages that I would want the public to know about 2030. First of all, in order for us to have any meaningful discussions, the Canadian Olympic Committee and the various organizers have to identify what it is that what role they want for Richmond and for the Richmond Olympic Oval. This has not been established, and we're at a very, very preliminary stage as to what they may want to do and how they would want to do it, and the limits around that. The second message is that before we would embark on the 2030 Olympic Games and that entire project, we would want to have a very good level of public consultation. It's a very major investment by the city, and of course the money we use belongs to the citizens. So we would want those residents to have their say-so as to what they think of this possibility, and also the members of the Richmond Olympic Oval, who would be disrupted in their activities for a good long period of time, a number of months at least. We would want to know what their thoughts are as well. So we have to have them define what they want, so that leads to a business case, and we can look to the entire finances of the situation, but also we want a very healthy dose of public consultation about it.
Are you concerned about the budget? I mean, where will the money coming from? That would be the question people ask.
Well, budget is a very big thing. I mean, when we built this building, the assurances we gave people is we will not borrow money to build it, and we're not going to use tax dollars to build it. So we had to do other things. We had to look at it from different perspectives. So we were able to sell some land. We were able to use the park development cost charges. We were able to use money from the casino for a period of years. There was a number of different pots that we took the money out of and supplemented the $60 million that we got from VANOC. We had to raise $178 million, but we were able to do it by taking a very positive and constructive approach to this possibility. Now, for the future, which is where you're going on your question, so much depends. The organizers may say, we just want to rent your venue. We want to use the Richmond Olympic Oval, and we want to rent it for a period of time on a certain basis. You know, we would negotiate what that might be. Now that's a lot different than deciding that we want to have a full venue, like the entertainment zone in Mineru Park last time. We hosted over 500,000 people there. We had Heineken House. I'm sure
yes.
Your friends remember that.
Yes.
I mean, that was a great party house, and it was really commensurate with the experience that we had. So much depends. We just don't know what they have in mind, and through discussions they have to define it.
Anything else you would like to share with us?
No, I'll just reiterate, 2030 is very early, and we'll see where that one goes. But I certainly have very fond memories of 2010, and I think in terms of our city, what the Olympics did for the city of Richmond, more than any other city, and there were many cities involved, more than any other cities, it was city changing, and we've benefited greatly from it.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
We are.
Yes, very nice talking to you, Mayor. And
thank you, Lisa. It's always a pleasure.
yes, all the best and enjoy the holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to you too.